webinar. I would be recording it and it would be posted on our YouTube, that's the Friends of Nigeria YouTube page. So for future reference purpose. Thank you very much. My name is Ajibola Fani, and I'm the head of the FOM Business Committee. Today we are going to be discussing something very, very important. For those who are aware already, you must have received some kind of notice either by mail or paper form from the tax office. The declaration started, I think, 11th of April. It depends on the region where you are anyway, but it started this April and it will run down to, I think, beginning of June, depending on where you stay. And today we have two distinguished speakers, amigos, to really explain, this myth of tax declaration in France and also business registration. I know we've spoken a lot about business registration, but they would also be touching on it today. And also accounting, especially for business owners. So how to account and make sure that you are following the right procedure and you are not paying too much and you are not also evading tax. So today we have, like I said, the first person is Oyindamola Olusumade. I hope I got it right, Oyinda.
Yes,
Oyinda,
you did. Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you very much. So Oyinda is a financial services professional, and he's also an integral member of Friends of Nigeria. And the second person we have with us is Leonardo Buana. He's an expert contab memorialist. He's also the responsible commercial at Advice in Paris, but they have offices all over France. You are welcome, Leonardo. You are welcome, Oyinda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and hello, everyone.
Thank you very much. So we are going to begin with Oyinda. So please, Oyinda, kindly share some word of wisdom with us on this topic. Thank you very much. I'll hand over to you.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Oyinda. Nice to be here with you all today. So I'll start off by just giving a brief background of who I am, and then I'll kickstart the tax session. So firstly, I'm Oyinda. I'm part of the Friends of Nigeria board members, and where I volunteer on the professional membership aspect. And aside that, I have a day job. So basically, I work for a bank here in France. It's an international bank, so I work here for a corporate and investment bank in France. Prior to that, I've worked for different institutions, doing consulting. So basically, I've worked for Capgemini as a consultant. And before that as well, I've worked with different institutions as a consultant. For instance, BNP Paribas, CIB, Societe Generale, CIB, and AXA Investment Managers as an employee. And yeah, so my experience basically has been the fields of has been varied. I've worked as a business analyst. I've worked as a financial crime analyst. So basically dealing with anti-money laundering and know your customer queries and investigations for as it relates to banking, basically. So hence why tax is also a very important subject for me. And another thing is I've worked at, which is probably more linked to this than any of my other experiences, was I've worked at the Director General de Finances Publiques, and that's the French tax office. Worked there as a business analyst on assignment for Capgemini. And basically, yes, that's my background. Today, however, I'm not coming to you as an expert on any field or on behalf of any other organization than Friends of Nigeria as a volunteer. So just to let you know that this is my little disclaimer that I am not a tax consultant or expert in the sense that I do not provide professional advisory on tax, but I'm only doing this as a way to help out in terms of getting to know what are the basic requirements. And we do have our expert here, who is Leonardo, who will be going into details on the things that I might not be able to answer or cover. So I'm happy to be here with you. I'll just share my screen and then share a few slides to answer some basic questions as I already set the ground for. Okay, so I think the host has enabled screen sharing, and then I'll just let me try again. Okay. Okay, is it enabled now? I think it should be next to the share screen button. There should be an arrow that just pushes, that is up, looking upward, and then you should to enable it there. Okay, yes, now I can. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just put this on. Okay, can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, we can see it, Onyeda. Thank you.
Okay, so as I stated, from my point of view, this is going to be an information sharing on filing taxes in France. And basically, what do I want you to know first? As I mentioned before, this is just basic information sharing, and it's not expert advice from me. But what you'll be listening to from Leonardo will probably be expert advice. So let's get to it. Do you have to pay taxes in France? Yes. So let's look at who is eligible for paying taxes in France, basically. So as a resident of France, you are liable to pay taxes in France if your main place of residence is France, or if your spouse or children's main place of residence is France. You may still be considered as being a French tax resident. So that's the first thing I'd like for us to note. So, and then another thing to note is that if, as a resident of France, for more than 183 days in the calendar year, you are eligible to pay tax, and you are expected to pay taxes or declare your taxes, basically. So that's one thing you need to note. And if your main occupation is in France, or you have substantial assets in France, another thing to add is that, which is not on this slide, basically, is that if your main occupation is in France and you are even resident elsewhere, you might be eligible to pay, to declare your taxes in France and possibly pay taxes in France. So those are things I think we need to note. So as people that move to France, for majority of our community, we're Nigerians and or maybe Africans, and we've moved to France for for work or for study or whatever purposes. Once you're a resident in France for more than 183 days, you need to know that you are meant to declare your taxes. And we'll talk about what kind of income this can cover and what's this as we proceed. Ajibola, just a quick note, please. How long would I have for this session before Leonardo kicks in?
If you can do it in 15, it's fine. But if you need more minutes,
okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So basically, we've talked through this, and then I'll just talk to the next point, which is basically something that might interest some people here. I know some of us are very loyal Nigerians that we're not thinking about a second nationality. But if that interests you and you're trying to apply for nationality in France, obviously having your tax filings or a statement that you are not taxable in the last, a declaration, a receipt that states that you're not taxable in France for the last 3 years, which obviously you would have to to get by declaring your taxes. So that means that even if you had zero revenue, you declare your taxes, and then you get a slip that shows an avis d'imposition, basically, and that covers you. And you need to have three of those. You have to have three of those for your tax declarations. So for your nationality filing, rather. So you have to have 3 years pay tax slips, rather, and that covers you. So that will be for your taxation filings. Even if you're a student, you can file as if you're looking towards applying for a nationality. And as I mentioned earlier, the most important thing to note is that you are expected to declare your taxes in France if you are resident in France for more than 183 days. So this does not cover, this does not neglect the fact that you're a student or your socioeconomic status. Basically, it just covers everybody. So that's the next thing to note. Okay, and then I'll move on to the next thing. Where can I get assistance on filing my taxes? Obviously, filing your taxes can be complicated and require a lot of information gathering. So the French government is not leaving you to yourself to just do this on your own. You can get instructions on the impo.gouv.fr form website, rather, and on the impo.gouv.fr website, it gives you contact details, and you can declare you can follow the instructions there on how to declare your taxes. And that will be as an individual, obviously, for most people. And then if you're a business, you will know if you are how to go about this. Then the next thing is you can also get a comprehensive practical tax brochure from the impo.gouv.fr site, which is produced each year, so everybody can access this tax brochure. It is produced by the government and accessible, but it's in French, obviously, but it's accessible on their website, and it details all the types of taxes, all the kind of benefits, and it's very comprehensive. And then in person, for each and every one of us, we are attached to a mayor's office or a mairie. And the tax, their local, in each mairie, you can speak to the tax. There's a tax office, basically, that you can go to meet them to actually ask about. In each district of your, or arrondissement rather, you can actually find your tax office, your local tax office. For instance, if you live in the 17th arrondissement, there's a local tax office. If you live in the whatever area, maybe in Lyon or wherever you have tax offices, or whichever district, so your tax offices are very useful for that. And then I'll move on to the next thing. But before that, I'll just say that if you have any questions or you cannot file your taxes, you're not left on your own, go to your local tax office. You can find that on impo.gouv.fr to just specify which one is your local tax office. And then I'm basically focusing on personal taxes for today. And for personal taxes that you need to file, the first thing you need to notice that every source of income you need to declare it in your in France as part of your tax filing. And then also the other types of taxes that you get in France, which are not aside the what's it called, French income tax, are your social security contributions that you make. Obviously, as a worker, if you're employed, you're making social security contributions, and this is in your pay slip. This is taken automatically, and then we'll still touch base on how the taxes are collected later on. And then in France also, you have the tax on goods and services, which you pay for, obviously, when you buy goods. Just like in any other country, your value-added taxes are on these are the 3 types of categories of taxes that you pay as a person in France. So what has changed? There used to be some other forms of taxes that we used to pay in France earlier. For instance, the local residence tax d'habitation. So if you've been here earlier than 2021, even 2021 actually, yeah, you used to pay taxes on your habitation, on your local residence. Basically, being a resident in an accommodation, you pay taxes on that, and that has changed now. You no longer pay taxes on that, and yeah, that has been abolished. And then the TV license taxes, So that's just some things to note. And then taxes on goods and services, obviously, I won't go into details of this. This is collected at the source. But if you own a company, you can collect the taxes back, your VAT back. That's just the most important thing to note here, is that if you own a company, the VAT is something that you can reclaim as reclaim. And then, so what are the deadlines for taxes that you need to note? It opened on April 11th, and now the deadline is based on where you reside. And the last deadline will be June 6th for those that reside in the departments 55 to 976. But make sure you check where you're locally and verify that you have the deadline applies to you. The earliest deadline is May 23rd. If you're going to do a paper declaration, this is no longer the format of declaration that is widely used. But if you exceptionally have to do a paper declaration, then you have till the May 21st to do that. And basically, yeah. So I'll move on to the next slide. For the information on the deadlines, that's something you can find on Google. Just basically Google that and see what area you live in, and then that'll tell you what deadline you have to pay your taxes. And then for the another thing to note is the personal income tax rate for residents. I'm just looking at the time. I think I'll just be a bit quicker, so we can get into things that might be more interesting for us. Personal income tax rates for residents. I think somebody's, or if it's just me, but I can see a red and yellow thing on the screen. But anyways, personal income taxes for residents. Official residents pay foreign taxes on worldwide income. That's the most important thing to note, that your personal income is taxed based on everything you earn everywhere in the world. So if you make money in Nigeria, you make money in Ethiopia, or you invest in stocks in the US, everything that you earn from anywhere else. Ayodele James, I don't know if you have a child with you, but we're seeing like, okay. So anyways, if you earn money, and that can be dividends, shares, stocks, real estate investment, any type of investment, you are eligible to declare your taxes in France, and it is taxable in France. And one thing you need to note is that your taxes in France are taxed progressively. So so basically, for instance, if you do a case study of this, so for instance, if you're a single person, you're earning 25,000 in France, you not pay tax on the first 11,294. So okay, first let me explain the brackets first, and then we'll go into the practical case. So the income bracket is that from up to 11,294, you pay 0% on that income. From 11,295 to 28,797, you pay 11% on that income bracket. And then from 28,798 to 82,341, you pay 30% on that income bracket. And then from 82,000 to 342 to 177,106, 177,106, you pay 41%. And then anything more than 177,106, you pay 45%. And basically, so the way tax is calculated in France is in brackets. So we're going to do an example, which is that for a single person who is making 25,000 a year, you will not pay taxes on the first 11,294, and then 11% on you pay 11% on the remaining 13,706, resulting in an annual tax bill of 1.508 if you do the calculations, the math. Basically. So here you just need to note that, for instance, if you earn 170,000, you'll be getting taxed progressively, and it's not just going to be that you'll be charged 41% on all of your income, but you actually you'll be taxed rather on the income brackets that you have made, and this includes everything that you have as income collectively, and as income collectively. So you can also simulate your income on the French tax simulator website. So if you like to know, I make this much amount of money. How much am I going to get taxed at the end of the year? You have a tax simulator for that. And then I'll move on to the next slide, which is how to file your income tax. Basically, in France, we have a withholding tax system, or pay as you earn system, where taxes are deducted from your income. If you're a student, obviously, this might not be the case because you are earning maybe probably earning we'll touch base on students after, but you're earning income that's lower than the scale of what you need to declare taxes and pay taxes for. So that's not going to be applicable to you. But it depending on your income bracket, obviously. But as someone that is an employee, your tax is automatically deducted from your salary each month. This has been something that has been put into place since 2019, and each year you have the adjustments that are made, the reductions and the deductions that are made, and then your final tax will be done after you've made your declaration for the previous year. So that's for the pay for the how taxes are done. And then generally for filing taxes in France, you complete a tax form, and then you also have people that do not have to declare complete tax forms because they basically have predictable taxes, meaning that, for instance, they work in a company and they have what's it called, and they have they do not have incomes that come in from anywhere else, so they have auto declaration that's done. And then I'll move forward again to the next slide. You have self-employed income taxes. So if you're an auto entrepreneur or micro entrepreneur, as it's called now, you have your taxes that are done on USAF, and you're not double taxed for that. You declare your taxes on USAF, and then that tax you now file again in your input.gov declaration that you make each year to tell them about the taxes you paid on the income you made and you've already been taxed on from USAF. And then you also get to put in other incomes that you might have made, or other accounts and other details. So I just wanted to touch base on some few things before we end this session. One thing to note is that France and Nigeria have a double taxation treaty. And that means that we have a double taxation treaty, meaning that we have an agreement between the two countries where we will not double tax you on income that have been made in France and Nigeria. So for instance, if you're already taxed concerning something in Nigeria, you won't be taxed up for it in France again. And if you're already taxed for income in France, you won't be taxed again for it in Nigeria. But you're obliged to declare the, certain incomes that you get under the double taxation treaty. And the reason why you're obliged to do that is so that you are advanced a tax credit, and that reduces the amount of tax you need to pay in France. So you just declare it just so that they know that this has been received and have already been taxed. So for instance, if you've already been taxed on investments that you have in Nigeria, you still have to declare them in France, because then they will be able to know that these investments have been taxed in Nigeria, and they will not tax you again on it. And if it's not been taxed already in Nigeria, then you put it in the right field, and then they will know what's the tax rate to put on it. So that's the double taxation treaty. How to register for tax in France. If it's your first time registering for tax in France, you can apply for your TIN, your tax identification number, basically online, and or otherwise you can fill a form, the 2043, and send it to your local tax office, basically. And then the next thing to note is which income is taxable. Now, so this is for people that are filling for the first time, and this applies mostly to students. So I think I've overdone it with the time, but so I will just but I'll be sending the slides afterwards, and then we can talk about questions that you probably have. Ajibola, would you want to ask me questions, or have people ask questions, or move on to the next speaker? Let me know.
Thank you very much, Renita. So we would move on to the next person.
Okay.
Anyone with question? I see that some people have started dropping questions, and also during the registration process for those who registered to be on this program, there was a section where they could ask questions, and they asked a couple of questions. So that will also be tackled after Leonardo's presentation. And for the presentation you just made, thank you very much. Please kindly send it across so that we can share with everyone who participated today. I just want to collaborate what you said quickly. So for some people might be students. I've had this situation where like student they call or message me. I'm also not a tax person, but I have a bit of understanding of how it works. And they're like, I'm a student, I don't need to register, pay tax and all of that. I don't need to do declaration. I say, if you intend to stay back in France, so even going to nationality process is like the long, what's it called? If just the immediate things you need to do in France. If you intend to stay back in France, declaring is very important. If, for example, if you intend to buy your first house in France, the fact that you declared before could give you, what we call PTZ. That's like zero interest interest loan from the government to buy your first house in France. Like it could go up to like 40% of the cost of the apartment or the house you're buying. And also for house owners, there's still tax foncier that is still paid, that still has to be paid yearly, but that is calculated automatically by the tax office, I believe. Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to call in Leonardo to please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I would like to say to Oyinda, thank you. It was a really good presentation. Actually, it was all clear, and I agree with everything she said. So that was a very, very good job. So for my part, to just explain what I do and who I am, I saw maybe some of you maybe know me already. I think we follow Obi now, right? On her company, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Hi, Obina. We had the chance to meet each other actually in our headquarters. So to present myself, my name is Leonardo Buhana. I'm a French accountant CPA. So we follow a lot of companies in France on their tax management and also accounting. And I would say we have a lot of activities. Mainly, we help entrepreneurs from the beginning, when you launch your company, to the development of the company, and also to do some optimization in order to help you to pay less and less taxes. We create the accounting firm since like 5 years now, and we have a lot of people that follow that how, I don't know how to say it, that we follow since like maybe 4 years, and now they have a really big companies. So I don't know if some of you have already companies or are planning to open it, so we can help you to choose the right statut juridique, which means the right legal status, and it depends also, of course, on your situation, if you have already salary or not, if you're married or not, if you have kids. So a lot of conditions must be um, requested before opening the company to see which one fits you the best in order to choose the right one. And then on the tax, you can choose to when you open a company, you can choose to put it on impôt sur les sociétés. Impôt sur les sociétés in English, it means corporate tax. But you have also the possibility to put it on impôt sur le revenu, which is the income tax. So I don't know if you have some questions. I mean, I'm here today to answer a lot of questions, so please don't hesitate, and also to see how our accounting firm can help you guys if it's in the beginning of your project of opening a company, or also if you have already a company to follow it and to help you. Hello?
Thank you very much, Leonardo. So I will
You're
just
welcome.
go into the questions that has been asked, and
Yeah.
any question that needs to be, anyone who has questions, please kindly drop it in the comment section so I can read it out. So the first question I have here: how to prepare account statement as an entrepreneur or professional liberal.
So it's our job as a CPA to do it. Actually, in our package for the client that we follow, we do the corporate tax and also the financial statement. So it depends when the company close the accounts. It can be by the end of the year, and also you can choose maybe, I don't know, the 30th of June. So you have the liberty in France to choose when you close the accounts. So it's our job as a French CPA to do the financial statement and also to proceed to the declaration of the corporation tax. So maybe
Okay.
your question is how we calculate it.
Yeah, how is it calculated?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we calculate we call it in French the bénéfice. It's the profit. So in France, you pay the tax on the benefits. The benefits is calculated. We take the difference between the chiffre d'affaires, which is the turnover, and also the expenses. So we take your sales minus the expenses, and it gives us the profit. On the profit, you will pay impôt sur les sociétés. So it's 50% until a profit of 42,000, if I'm not wrong. And if it's more than 42,000, you will pay 25%. 25% of corporate tax. I don't know if it's clear for you guys, but I can re-explain.
All right. Thank you very much, Leonardo.
You're welcome.
So I have another question here.
And also, just to add something, in the financial statement, we also present two things: the profit and loss um, result, and also le bilan.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how I think it's called profit and losses.
Balance sheet.
Balance
Yeah.
sheet also, exactly.
Yeah.
Income
Okay.
statement, yes.
Thank you very much. So this question, so there's this little myth, and I think we've cleared it before, but I'm still seeing it as part of the question being asked. Leonardo, please, can you tell us categorically if foreign students, if they are allowed legally to open a business, why they are still like on a student permit in France?
Yeah, so it's a legal question. In France, you can open a company when you're French citizen or also European citizen. When you're a student, it depends if you have titre de séjour. There's a lot of conditions in France and some specific conditions to open a company. But your question, I believe, it's more when you are a Nigerian student, if you're allowed to open the company, right?
Yeah.
So we must check if there is something specific about Nigerian students, but I believe they cannot open. I must ask maybe our legal service and check some conditions. But I think they can open a status like auto-entrepreneur if they have le titre de séjour.
Okay, so I think Obina is also just collaborating and saying that he couldn't open one with as a student, like he couldn't open auto entrepreneur as a student. So, because we've already mentioned.
Yes, but he must. He have the residence permit.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have residence permit, I think you're allowed to open it. Yes.
Ajibola, just to add, just because maybe we can focus on the tax aspect of things for Leonardo's questions, just because he might be more as opposed to the titre de séjour questions, as he might not be a legal expert in that for Nigerians to but he's a tax expert, so we can ask him more tax related questions. I just wanted to add on the questions about the USAF, so maybe we can talk about that. He can touch base on that. Leonardo can touch base on the USAF one. But I saw a question about will self-employed people let me see. The first one was for income reported on the USAF, how do we reflect it in the input tax form? Which section of the tax document is that? So that was from Obina. And I could just answer that first, and then Leonardo can go into details. For auto entrepreneurs or micro entrepreneurs, as they're called now, you can declare your income that you make, that you declare to USAF normally on the 242 C Pro form. Basically on the 242 C Pro form, which is a profession non-salary form. And then you would put if you are into, depending on what category, if it's a service or a prestation service or a business or a service, whatever, you have the categories linked to that, but you see it clearly as it reflects on the 242 C Pro form. And I think we could add to that, then we can focus on tax questions.
Actually, it's quite easy when you're entrepreneur in France. You have just to declare the turnover, so what you've done in sales, and there is like how to say it, a scale. So everything is written, if it's services, if it's e-commerce, drop shipping. So it depends on the activity, and you pay like for an activity or service, I think it's around 20 or 22%. And the 22% is only social charges, and to pay the income tax, I think you must add 1 or 2% if I'm not wrong.
Thank you very much, Leonardo. Thank you very much for being there.
It was just an example, of course.
Yes, please.
So
this question,
yes,
okay.
yes. Just I wanted to add something. When you're auto-entrepreneur, also you don't need us as a French CPA, because it's really easy. So you can do it by your own, the declaration online of your auto-entrepreneur, and also the tax declaration. Usually, people need a French CPA when you have really a company like SAS or SAL.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So this question is from Obina. If you earn dividend from a company abroad, so let's say from a company in the US or in Nigeria, which section of the tax form do you report that, and how is it taxed?
Okay, so I'll answer how it's taxed on dividends. Dividends, it depends on the company, if it's an SAS or SRL. Usually dividends, you pay them once you've paid the corporate tax, okay? If I take an example, you'd pay maybe, I don't know, 50% if it's less than 42,000 of profit. Once this is paid, then you will pay 30% of the, we call it flat tax, in order to take dividends for yourself. So you want me to do it an example maybe so it can be more clear?
Yes, if you can give an example.
Okay, for example, if you've done like, I don't know, 100,000 sales and you have 70,000 expensive, so your profit is 30,000. Do you agree? It was a question.
Okay, thank you.
So on the 30,000, you'll pay 50% tax. It's around 4.5. 4.5, so it will be 30,000 less than 4,500. So you'll have a profit that you can take as dividends of 25,500 euros. Okay, on this 25,500 euros, after you've paid the corporate tax, if you want to take them in your own bank as a personal profit, you will pay what we call the flat tax. So it's 30%. So if we do 30% of 25,000, it will make around Yeah, 8,000. So in our example, you will have in your bank after paying the corporate tax and also the flat tax, 80,000. Hello?
All right, Leonardo, thank you very much. So that was a lot of
If
number.
it wasn't, sorry, man, my English is not really good, but I think it's
No, it
it's a
was
good
well
example,
understandable.
so you can understand, yeah, how we calculate the tax and also how much you pay if you want to take the dividends for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Um,
Oyinda, I don't know if you have something to
Yeah,
add.
just to add for your dividends, yeah, you have to declare your dividends, and basically what you need to do is check for the 2047, which is a tax form. And when you're filing your taxes, you can also search if it's online, you can search within the box. You can just write what you're searching for. If it's like you can put in French, revenue capital, capital mobilier imposable, and that would help you bring down a drop down list or help you find the actual form that you're looking for. But the form that you need to put that you need to attach is a 2047 if you're paying dividends. I'll let if Leonardo, if you want to add anything to that after, you can. But it's a 2047, and there, even if it's not taxable, you would have specific places to say to put it in to determine if it's already been taxed abroad or if it's not been taxed before. And yeah, that's for your dividends that you make. For instance, if you invest in property or something in Nigeria, sorry, in stocks in Nigeria and you have dividends, then that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Oyinda. So the next question is, do they tax NGOs in France?
So I didn't
No,
hear it. You said?
Do they tax non-governmental organizations in France? So NGOs.
no, associations are not taxed in France, and as long as that means that they're not doing anything that is associations are not expected to do anything that is profit generating, as hence the name non-profit, obviously. So they're not taxed, and they cannot claim back VAT as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Leonardo, I don't know if you have something to add on this.
No, actually, it was really what Oyinda said. It was really clear.
Thank you. So this question is coming from John. He's asking, the VAT declaration seems to be monthly. Is this obligatory? And if there is a penalty for delayed declaration of the monthly VAT?
The amount of VAT, that's the question. Sorry, I can't hear you well.
No, the VAT is asking if you should make the declaration on a monthly basis. And if it is
Okay. No, actually, when you open a company, you have the choice, okay, for the VAT. You can be on a monthly, it can be also trimestre, so each 3 months, or annual. Usually, we recommend to do it annual if we start a company, and also if you don't have a lot of expenses and a lot of sales. But once the company is open and it's really doing well, we recommend to put it on a monthly basis, because it's important to follow a month per month the amount of VAT, and it also avoid that at the end of year, if you have a yearly declaration, to pay just the big amount of VAT. So when you pay it month per month, it's more easy for your treasury.
Okay, thank you very much. Oyinda, please, do you have something to add on this?
Not on that subject, but if there are questions, yeah.
I can add also something on VAT, that there is a different taux, which is the rate. You have the normal rate, which is 20%. Also, you have the taux réduit for some activities, which is a reduced rate.
Okay, thank you very much, Leonardo. So the next question is from Oluwafemi Adeleke, and he's asking, will self-employed pay corporate profit tax having declared social security and tax to government via OSAF. So he's asking if after declaration on OSAF, do you still have to pay tax on the profit?
As long as you're putting it in the right box, where when they ask you for income and you're not putting it on the general tax form, or that you're going to the specific non-pro one, they will not tax you a second time because you've already been taxed by USAF. So that's the answer from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Oyinda. There's still another question from Oluwafemi. He's saying, what is the purpose of statement of account preparation by accountant as a self-employed person? So I'll just say, based on what Leonardo said, as a self-employed person, so if you are auto-entrepreneur, you most likely don't really need the service of an accountant because you can do all your declarations, in a simplified manner. But I don't know if Leonardo has something to add to this.
About auto-entrepreneur?
We, auto-entrepreneur, he was asking what is the purpose of having statement of account prepared by an accountant if you're a self-employed person.
I'm trying to see the question. Where I can
it was
find
sent
it because we don't use Zoom and
it was sent directly to me. So
okay.
So
okay.
It was sent directly to me, but he was only asking, is it compulsory, I guess, to have an accountant prepare statement of accounts for a self-employed person? And what
the question
purpose
is if sorry, I have a bad connection. The question is if he has if he need a CPA for the auto-entrepreneur.
Yeah, for auto-entrepreneur to do the accounting for him. Like, does he have any kind of advantage, I guess?
There is actually it depends on the behavior of the entrepreneur. I have some people that they have auto-entreprise and they want us to do their declaration because they have, I don't know how to say it, maybe not a phobia of administration, but they don't know how to declare it online. But to be honest, for me it's very easy, and even if you're coming from outside of France, you can do it because it's really easy. You could just go on the website auto-entrepreneur.yourself. You see what's your activity. You have already the rate, and you just declare it, and that's it. There is no expenses, as you know. In auto-entreprise, you cannot. You pay only the tax on your sales, and you cannot put the expenses. So that's why if you hesitate between auto-entreprise and a company, that's our main goal as a French CPA. It's to see if it's really necessary to open a company or if auto-entreprise can be good for you. But when you open auto-entreprise, to be honest, you don't need an accountant. The only advantage to have an accountant is to see if it's not the right status for you, or if you have the phobia of administration and you need someone to do it for you. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question from Oluwasegun. He said, as the newly wedded couple with his wife in Nigeria, does the wife need to declare her tax in France, even though she's in Nigeria or married to a French resident?
So he's living here. I think it's more. I must check with our fiscalist of our because sometimes it depends. He just married this year.
It wasn't stated, but basically the wife is still in Nigeria, so he's asking if he should add that to his declaration.
And she's earning something in Nigeria. Does she work? Because if she doesn't work, no need to declare anything for the moment.
Okay. Or if she's working, then it's advised to add that to the declaration.
I think, if I'm not wrong, he said it's newly, right?
Yeah, as a
So
newly wedded.
so for the moment, no. But we must see if he's a French resident now. He's
Yeah,
living in France.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe I will check with our fiscalist of our accounting firm.
Okay, thank you very much.
But I
Oyinda,
think the question will be not for this year, maybe, but maybe for 2025.
2025. Okay. All right. Tochukwu is asking directly to Oyinda. With the double taxation treaty you explained, that's I guess Nigeria and France treaty. Am I right to assume that dividends from stock in Nigeria declared in France won't be taxed?
Yes, so yes, you're right to assume that as long as they've been taxed before, but the other thing to note is that if you do yeah, they won't be taxed twice if they've been taxed in Nigeria, but you just have to file them, make sure you file them in the right place in the 207 for form. And you won't be taxed twice. Yes, there's no double taxation on dividends either, but you have to declare them regardless.
Okay. And someone is asking John Smith, he said, what if my stocks actually made a loss during the tax year? Does he need to declare those stocks even if they made a loss?
It's on capital gain. So normally I would have to verify. I'll let Leonardo answer. I only know about capital gain, but I'll let Leonardo clarify for me so I don't give wrong information.
What if my stocks actually made a loss during the year, right? During
Yes,
tax year.
what if my stocks actually made a loss?
It depends. He has a company, John.
I'm not sure, but I'm guessing
I think
maybe
it's on
someone
personal.
who bought the company share.
I need to understand if the stocks he have them personally or if he has them from the company.
John, if John Smith.
And usually in France, you pay only the tax on the plus-value. You know when, but if they made a
We
loss and he's keeping them in his
um sorry, just to add to what we were saying earlier, you do declare also your losses, your more value, but the only thing is that you won't be paying tax on it. You won't be paying a tax on it, but you would declare your if you have a loss, a capital loss, yeah.
Okay, so quickly, John Smith just wrote a message. He said he's talking about investment in another company, like Apple stocks, for example.
Yeah, that's applicable too.
Okay, thank you very much. So this question is from John Okoro and he's going to Leonardo. He's asking, what is the reasonable bracket for monthly and annual tax and accounting fees in France for a new company, SAS or SARL? Or how much does your company charge for the filing services?
Okay. So John, bracket for monthly annual tax accounting fees. Okay. So it depends if you have a new company, if it's SAS or SARL, it depends really on the activity first, and also on the turnover, how much you're planning to earn in this company. Usually, we're around 250 euros per month. It's a package that includes the fact that we do the accounting day by day. We also do the financial statement by the end of the year, balance sheet and profit and loss. We also give you access to our accounting software, which is called Pennylane, and it's really good. All our clients today are really happy with this software because it helps us a lot to do a really quick accounting, and also for the entrepreneur to see his numbers live on his smartphone. And also in the package, you'll have an expert. So it can be me or someone of my colleagues, and we help you on what you can do, and also answering all your questions. So that's our fees in our company. Now, the reasonable bracket, I mean, you have different offers. You can go online and find like accounting fee online, but I don't recommend it because they usually like machines. They don't have the conseil, which is the advice. And for me, our job as a French CPA is really to advise the entrepreneur in their project and also in their company and to help them to optimize. So I think you must really think what you need as advices, and then you can see how much you can pay for it per month. But we have, yeah, the moyenne, the average today in our company is 250, but we can start at 175 euros. And also, if you have a holding or a SAE, it can be less because it's we have a special price on it, which is 100 euros for SAE per month, and also for holdings it's 150 euros. I don't know, John, if it was clear for you, but I can maybe send you this by email for all of you guys so you can have it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Leonardo. So normally at the end of the webinar, we put together like a document that kind of summarizes everything that we've heard today, and it's sent to the mail of every participant. So I'll probably be getting some info from you and Oyinda as well, and we'll put it together and send across. Thank you very much. So for the next question, this is going to Oyi. It's also from Guru. He's asking, what ideas can you share with respect to optimizing or legally reducing taxes for those who earn a lot in France? So maybe Leonardo also can jump on the question afterwards.
Yeah, of course. Well, John, actually, we do like a live conference with my colleague. It's in French, each 2 Tuesdays. So we speak a lot about how we can reduce your tax, and of course, in a legal way. We have different strategies. I mean, the first one, when you open a company, it's really to see the right legal status, SAS or SARL. Then I would say we can see what we can put expenses that you pay in your own life, but we will put them in the company. So the company will pay these expenses for you. It can be internet, telephone, etc. And the next step is also on VAT. You know, when we open a company in France, you can choose the franchise en base, which is a right to not to collect VAT until some amount of turnover. And we have also techniques with holdings. If you have really a big company, we can open a holding and see if we can do intégration fiscale. I mean, there's a lot of ways to reduce your tax and to see how we can optimize, but I think it's more like it depends on the situation of each of you guys.
Thank you very much. Oyinda, please, do you have something to add?
Okay, so I'll add from a personal, thank you, Leonardo. I think that's very helpful for businesses as well. So they know what is available to them. I'll add from a personal point of view, like taxation point of view for individuals. But can I share my screen, just so I can, and
Yes.
I'll just take this opportunity to present like the few slides I have left. I'll be very quick with them, but I think they can answer some of the questions that are left. I'll just take 5 minutes this time. So I'll share screen.
So just I'm not sure I answered this question from Adesh. He wanted me to share my contact information. I will share it at the end. Sorry, because in the beginning I didn't know where to see the messages, but now I saw them.
Okay. So yeah, what John was asking about how to reduce our taxes in France. So I'll go to that one. I'll just touch on that. Okay, so for instance, tax reductions. Yeah. So for tax reductions or deductions, firstly, you can deductions are like basically things that are removed from your taxable income, and then those are removed from the total amount that you're meant to be taxed, basically. And this can include things like donations that you make to associations, or like if you have child support that you give to like if you're a parent and you're separated from your spouse and you give child support to your other spouse or your ex-spouse, that can be deducted. If you have like what else? If you do like I don't have to. Yeah, if you have schooling expenses, for instance, if you're paying for a child in secondary school, for people that have older children, that's tax deductible. If you have domestic help, if you're paying if you are paying money for someone to come and clean your house, that's tax deductible. So these are things that, for instance, can reduce your taxes. For tax reductions, you have things like donations. For instance, let me start with donations. For donations, you have it has to be to a non-profit. It has to be something that is not that's for a social purpose. That's also something that benefits not a more than a small circle of people. For small circle of people, don't ask me because I don't know how many would be the definition for a small circle. But basically, things like if you donate, like for instance, if you are religious and you maybe donate to your church or your mosque or any of those religious institutions, that's tax deductible. And it's basically deductible up to 66% of the amount of the donation you make for those particular ones, donations. So these are called donations that you make to general interest donations, basically. You also have donations to political parties. That's another type of donation. But general interest ones are deductible up to 66% of the amount you donate. So for instance, if you are donating a certain amount and you can receive up to 66% of that amount back as a reduction of your taxes, but up to the limit of 20% of your taxable income, and up to the limit of a certain amount. I think it's quite high actually. So for people that have incomes that are high, I think it's in the millions if I'm not mistaken, but it's up to 20% of your taxable income, for instance. And then the ceiling of the 20% is applied to the next 5 years. So if you exceed that one, the money that you've exceeded would be applied to the next 5 years, will be carried over to the next 5 years. So if you make donations, that's something you need to note. For instance, tithes and all of those are deductible in France as they are considered as donations and deductible. Then childcare expenses, for instance, if you're paying for childcare, then you can get reductions of up to 50% as tax credit. And tax credits is different from tax reductions. Tax credits are things that basically, if they reduce the income that you they reduce the amount you need to pay for taxes, but they can also be paid back to you if you have exceeded. If for instance, if you earn if your taxes are meant to be 1,000 euros, and then you have a tax credit of 1,005, then that 500 euros extra can be paid to you back as money to you. So that's what a tax credit is. So for instance, if you pay for your childcare, schooling expenses of your children, or domestic help expenses, for instance, you can get childcare and schooling are tax credits, and then domestic help can be a deduction of your taxes. So I already touched based on this slide. And another thing to note was I want you guys to know was about the what's it called? Everyone to know was about the foreign income declarations and accounts declaration, bank account declarations. So if you're not only declaring all the income you make in foreign countries, but you also have to declare the bank accounts you own in other countries. So for instance, your Nigerian bank accounts, you need to declare them in France and let them know, even if it's been closed, even if it's not in use, and even if it's still open, whatever condition it is in, you need to declare it, and you can get fined for it. Basically, so if you deduct the fine, I will not be stating how much it is, but it can be up to 10,000, or how it's calculated, but it can be up to 10,000 per account that's not declared. And another thing to note is that your Revolut, all of those other all these other online banks rather are like considered also banks that you need to declare. So do not think that and you know because of the double tax the treaty that exists between France and Nigeria, even if you're not declaring it, they have the information and they can find out about it. And this has been the case of somebody. And remember, there's this vivid case of someone I know personally who applied for nationality, and person was not able to was not able to get it at that point, just because the person had not had gotten a fine for not declaring their bank accounts that they owned abroad, specifically in Nigeria, and had not declared. So these are things that you need to take serious as well. And then how to file them, you can file them looking for the 3916 declaration form, or you can just ask a tax office person, or write to the experts, where your contact details are in the IMPO website, and then write to them, and they can give you any information you need. But it's very, very straightforward, actually. 3916 for bank accounts and all. Yeah, thank you. So I think I'm done. I'll answer questions if any, but that's it.
Thank you very much, Oyinda, for
Thank you very
that. I was able to pick up a lot of things even for myself. There are a lot of things that even myself I don't know, and I think what you just presented would help me to, streamline my declarations much better for future purposes. There's this
Just
question. Please, yeah,
I
go on,
saw a question
Leonard.
of because now I can see all the chat. To answer John about VAT, if I didn't saw it, if you're delayed in the declaration of your VAT, of course you can pay penalties, penalty. Sorry. Yeah, be careful when you have a monthly declaration of VAT. You must do it on the date that is written online.
Thank you very much, Leonardo. So this
I saw
question,
it before.
yeah, this question is from Obina. He's asking, if you have not reclaimed VAT from the government, how much time do you have before you reclaim it? Does it expire? So, I guess,
If Obina means if he yes, in France, when you do a lot of expenses in the beginning of the opening of your company, you will have indeed a huge amount of VAT that you can reclaim from the state, from France. So you can actually you have two solutions, or you can choose to cash it, so to take it as a cash and to use it for the treasury of your company, or you can just put them in, on deduction. It means that when you will collect VAT, you can deduce them from the collected VAT. It does expire? No, because it will still in the accounting, and also we will put them in each declaration that you have an amount of VAT that you can reclaim from France.
okay, thank you very much. The next question had already been touched upon, so I will skip it in order for us not to delay. This question, just 1 minute. Okay, so Obina again is asking, is donations to a non-profit in Nigeria be deductible from your income in France? And if so, where do you do where do you declare the donation so that it could be deducted?
The donation done with your company, or you as a personal as a person?
So let's look at both cases. As an individual who made a donation to a non-profit in Nigeria, and also a company who did same.
The donation you can, yeah, as a person, if you do donations, you declare them. For me as a French citizen, you could declare them online, but the name of the form I must ask actually our fiscalist, or of our accounting firm, because um, as a French CPA, we don't we do the declaration of the company, but for you as a person, your own declaration, or you do it with our fiscalist, or you do it by your own. So usually you report them on. I don't have the number of the right case, but I can check it for you, Obina, and we can send it. I mean, Obina, he's already working with our accounting firm, so
Yeah.
I can ask Elias. I think he's the one in charge of his company, and I will get back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And if you can also just as part of the information that I will be getting back from you, so that we can give some kind of feedback to the participants of this program. So if you can also add that as well, even though Obina asked it, but myself, I would also like to know what are the possibilities around this. Thank you very much. Obina again is asking if PayPal account qualifies as a bank account. So do you declare
No,
a PayPal account?
no. In accounting, PayPal is it's like a solution to cash in the money, but it's not as a bank. You know, the money that you have in PayPal, you must transfer it to a bank to see it in your bank, but it's not considered as a bank. And even le compte comptable, you know, in accounting, we have a specific accounting account for PayPal. So it's like cash in, but it's not a bank. It's like a solution to cash in, but it's not a bank.
Okay, thank you very much. Oluwafemi
And
is
also it's the
asking.
same for Stripe and other solutions like this.
Okay, thank you very much. Onida, I don't know if you have something to add. Additional.
Oh yes, so not on that question, but I just need to add on the credit, the one that Obina asked previously for the deduction donations made to nonprofits out in Nigeria. No, the donations have to be made to establishments in France, to associations or nonprofits in France. And then the other thing to note is that he was asking, where do you declare the donation so it is deducted? You declare it on the in your normal tax declaration form. It's the 7th question, and it's the 7th question. So the title is reduction de crédit d'impôt, and there you have like donations to the 3 types of donations possible, which is persons in difficulties, and then religious organizations, general interest, and the political one, and then the ones that you do to your domestic help, for instance, housekeepers and all that. Yeah. So it's on the 7th one of the general tax form. Yeah.
Okay. This question is coming from Oluwafemi. He's asking, he sent a direct one, so you might not see it. He's asking, how does VAT concern self-employed person? If a self-employed person does not charge VAT in its invoice, where will such person see VAT to pay? I'm not sure if I understand very well the question, but it's basically asking for an auto entrepreneur. Where does VAT come into play?
The question is for me?
Yeah, to you and Doida.
Sorry, because I can't find it in the chat.
Yeah,
What you see?
It was sent directly to me. Let me just
Oh,
yeah, let me copy it and put it on there. So I just put it on the chat, and maybe you can see it. But basically, he's asking how VAT, how a self-employed person is concerned by VAT, like for the purpose of declaration.
sorry, I didn't hear it. What is the purpose of the declaration? That's
So
what you said? Sorry.
let me. I
Because
think
I
I can
can't
explain
see
the
it, so I can't
question.
hear it.
I can explain the
Yeah,
question.
please.
Because micro entrepreneurs do not pay, do not receive tax, are not able to charge VAT. They're not
Yes.
able to charge VAT. So are they eligible to receive VAT reductions for basically?
No, because thank you for the explanation, Oyinda. No, because it will be so easy, you know. You cannot receive VAT if you don't
Okay.
pay VAT. And also, as a micro entrepreneur, indeed, you don't have to pay VAT until a certain amount. You know, for example, if you're a consultant, if you exceed 35,000, I think, or 38, if I'm not wrong, you'll have to put the VAT in your invoices. So and it works in the same way for the companies. You can choose to have VAT, or you can choose the franchise en base, which is an exoneration of VAT in the beginning of your company. but yeah, and if you have the exoneration, which is the franchise en base, you don't collect VAT, but you cannot deduce it.
Thank you very much, Leonardo, and thanks, Oyinda, for explaining the question much better. It's 6:24 now, so I would just take the last 2 questions, I think, and would wrap it up from there, or 3 questions actually. So no more questions after these 3 questions. Any other questions can be sent to myself, and I would reach out to the speakers for the clarifications. So this question, no name, is asking, even though associations or NGOs are not taxed, does it still need to be assigned a tax ID?
The question of how does VAT concern? That's it?
No, not VAT. He's asking associations and NGOs, are they still assigned a tax
I see it. I think they have an exoneration. In our accounting field, we don't have associations and NGOs, to be honest. But if I'm not wrong, they don't. You're not taxed on VAT. But does it still need to be assigned a tax ID? Yes, you must have a tax ID as an association. You have a SIRET and also a tax ID. But I don't think you're concerned by VAT. But yeah, you will have a tax ID because you will have to declare at the end of the year.
Okay, thank you very much. Oyinda, please, do you have any anything to add to what you said?
Nothing to add. Nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. So this is coming from Tochukwu. Do you have to declare N26 account? So that's like an online account, online bank account.
Yeah. And does it, if it's a personal account or it's a pro account? And what do you mean by declare, as a person or in the company?
So as a person, you
Because
have.
if I'm not wrong, I think N26 is personal. I don't think they have a pro. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so I think it's as a personal. Tochukwu's question might be as personal. So you do have to declare your N26 is a foreign bank account. You have to declare it. Even so you have to declare all foreign bank accounts unless they are domiciled in France as well. I know Revolut now has it it's now domiciled in France, so it might no longer be considered a it depends on which one you have, just verifying your account, and Revolut will send you that information normally by email telling you if or N26 will send you that email to clarify if they but verify the account, the address in your account of your bank, and then you can contact them if you need to. But normally for online banks like N26, if they're domiciled elsewhere, you need to declare them in France on your tax form. Yeah. And then for associations, just to clarify, you have a SIRET and SIREN, but normally you're not subject to taxation at all. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. So the last question that we'll be taking is from Obina, and basically he was asking, he's throwing the question to me. He says, since we are within the time period for tax declaration, if we can have another session where we focus on like section by section completion of the tax declaration. I cannot answer this. I have to ask and Leonardo.
Well, Obina, you. I mean, you have my contact. You can answer me questions. I will be delighted to answer you. And now I think how it works, the Zoom. So it's we don't use Zoom, in our accounting firm. We're more on Google Meet. So now I see how the questions are, and yeah, it will be my pleasure to be here on the next section, and why not answering more questions about tax declaration and maybe more questions about companies also, because I didn't had a lot of questions about companies. It was more about maybe personal declaration or legal questions, I think.
Okay. Oyinda, please, if we are to invite you the next time for a more breakdown of the tax declaration and section by section so that it can be better understandable. I hope you would answer our call.
Okay, so just in the meanwhile, before I will answer that question, and I've not answered it yet, but I've sent a simulator just for everybody to access. It's the official government tax simulator website where you can simulate how to enter your taxes and what so it's not I mean you put in any fictive data, you can put your real data as well, but nobody else is seeing it but you and obviously maybe the back end of I don't think they have any time for that. But anyways, it's just a trial website where you put in a simulation website where you put in your data on like the taxes you want to put in and you can see how to fill it in, and it's a replica of what the real deal will be. So for anybody that needs help, you can firstly try the simulator. And if you have questions that are specific, you can reach out to Ajibola or myself on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I will share also my contact details. I will give you my WhatsApp, my number, my email, and also if you need my Calendly, if some of you guys have a lot of questions or maybe you didn't want to share your questions in the chat, I will be most delighted to answer all of your questions. And also, I didn't say it in the beginning, but for all the person that was asked tonight, if you want to open your company, we offer the opening of the company, so we don't charge anything. It's a gift from our accounting firm, and also you'll have an expert also who speaks very well English in order to help you guys if some of you don't understand French also. And also, I apologize if my English were not so good. I really we work a lot with French companies, but some of us used to work with foreign companies. So some of the experts in our accounting firm speak very well English, and I think Obina, he works with Elias. He has a very good English, so I think he's well satisfied.
Thank you very much, Leonardo.
You're welcome, guys, and thank you for inviting me today.
It's already past time, so I would like to just wrap it up from here. Thank you very much. Obviously, for the question that was asked about whether we can have another session, this would be discussed in details with Oyinda and with Leonardo, and once we're able to get a favorable date within this tax declaration period, we would send it out so that yeah. Thank you very much. I see Leonardo has already shared some info. For those who would like to take them, please do so, but
Yes.
they will still be the document that we'll be sending across to you that summarizes everything that we've done here today. Thank you very much, Joining that. We really appreciate, and thank you for the collaborating efforts.
Yes.
Leonardo, thank you very much for taking
Thank you
time.
for inviting me, and please, for the next time, don't hesitate to tell me which section you want me to elaborate with you guys, so I can prepare also like Oyinda something for you, because I didn't know what you guys needed, so I just wanted to share my experience and also to answer your questions in the live.
Thank you.
And really, again, thank you for the invitation, and hopefully see you maybe in our headquarters in Paris.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We appreciate
Okay.
your being here.
Thank
Oyinda.
you. Yeah, thank you so much, Ajibola, for organizing, and thanks everyone for staying with us. I'll just add one thing. Somebody asked a question that I saw Adedej. I'm not sure Adej. I'm not sure how to pronounce the person's name, but the person said that none of the person's questions was answered. So I scrolled up to just see if the last question from the person. And the person was asking about auto entrepreneur / personal taxes. You have to do both declarations, and that's just the answer to it. You have to go to USAF to do the micro entrepreneur declaration, and then you have to go to your info.gov to do the other declaration. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, have a great evening and bye.
And
yes,
sorry. And just before I saw Adej, you send me questions, but I didn't see them. It's I don't use, as I told you guys, Zoom. So Adej, I apologize. I didn't see your questions, but don't hesitate to take. There's my Calendly and my email. please answer your questions and I will respond to you.
Thank you very much,
I'm just
everybody.
checking it right now. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Bye.
happy
Good evening.